Ladies and gentlemen, students and studentesses, thank you so much once more for joining us right here at tshireletso.co.za. Now, the subject matter in question is English 2602. That's English 2602. And the assignment number is number 2. Assignment number 2. It is researched and presented by Tshireletso Gaolaolwe. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, if you feel that we've helped you in any way whatsoever, please do hit us up on WhatsApp. Check out our number at rayetse.co.za. Alternatively, just tell a friend to tell a friend, tell a cousin about us. Thank you so much. Let's hear what Tshireletso has to say about this assignment. Enjoy. Get your learn on.
Hi guys, Tshireletso Gaolaolwe here, giving you a couple of guidelines on how to tackle assignment 2 of English 2602. So basically in this assignment, you're required to answer one question of the 3 questions provided in approximately 1,200 words. So I'll just be going through the questions and giving you a couple of pointers on how to tackle it. It is again an essay question, much like assignment 1, but a bit more in depth. So in terms of question 1, you have to go through the fiction part of your study guide. So you have to go through unit 4, go down and read fiction, and read about poetry and read about drama before attempting to answer any one of these questions. In terms of fiction, you have to go through the extract that is written by Zakes Mda, The Heart of Redness, that was written in 2000. So in this extract, in the question provided, it gives you more or less what's going on in the extract. It's about a woman named Kukwezwa, who's called before court for a crime of cutting down trees without the chief's permission. So you're going to write an essay of about 1,000 words, which is 2.5 pages, in which you critically analyze the extract, showing how the theme of tradition, customs, and the law are conveyed through literary features such as the plot, setting, and character development. So what you're first going to do after reading your study guide is to determine what the plot is, what the setting is, and the character development in the extract. You'll have to note that you must quote from the text, and when you quote something, you explain why you quoted it, remembering that everything has to be linked to the theme of tradition and the law. So you're not going to discuss anything that you haven't quoted. You're not going to give your opinion, but you're going to give a quote and explain how that is linked to tradition/customs and the law. So before reading the extract, go to the assignment guidance, page 24, and define custom, a tradition or widely accepted way of behaving or doing something that is specific to a particular society, place, or time, and it's related to a tribe, for instance. For instance, Tswana people have their own tribe, as a specific tribe have their own customs, and Sotho people as a specific tribe have their own culture, customs, and traditions. So, and those customs develop with time. So, for instance, what we as Setswana people, for instance, practiced in 2000 is not what we particularly practice in 2020, for instance. And then you will go down and describe and just define what the law is. System of rules that a specific country or community recognized as regulating the actions of its members. And the law is enforced by penalties such as fines, prison sentences, and for instance, probation. So you know what customs are, you know what the law is, which is the most important part of the question. What do customs and the law have in common? So in this instance, a couple of stuff that I jotted down was they regulate a specific group of people, the law regulates a specific group of people, and customs do. And they evolve with time, the law evolves with time, and customs evolve with time as well. And they both have penalties for non-compliance. When you don't comply with the law, you do have a punishment. And if you don't comply with certain customs and traditions, there are certain things that are put in place that are set as punishment. And a couple of differentiations is customs are mostly misunderstood while the law is set down and it's clear on paper. We do have customary law, but most of it is not set on paper. And then another differentiation is the customs and traditions are particular. It is for instance, Zulu people, Xhosa people, but in terms of the law, it's more general. For instance, a minor is a person who is under the age of 18. That everyone, whether you're Zulu, Xhosa, or Sotho, you are a minor under the age of 18. So it is more general and not too specific. And the law applies to most people where customs are more particular. And another differentiation is there are set guidelines in terms of developing the law, and there are regulations that work with it. In terms of custom, you will just see things evolving with time and not according to specific regulations or guidelines in terms of how customs develop. So those are a couple of differentiations that you can look for. And when you know with customs law and the differentiations and what they have in common, you more or less have a better view of answering the question. And you can read down on page 24 because you have to identify any words or phrases in the text that reveal the theme of custom and the law. For instance, you will go through the text and read that they talk about for instance, the age being a very big thing where in terms of custom, when you're not married, you are still a child. But in terms of a law, if you're above the age of 18, you are not a minor anymore, whether you are married or not, you understand. So there's certain words or phrases that reveal the theme of custom and law. And then how the idea of custom and law represented in the extract. So here you will link the differentiations that we went through to the extract. And the third bullet, what is the plot? So the plot is the main part. There's a main plot and a subplot. The main plot is the dominant action in the story. So what is it? Is it the cutting of the tree? Is it the court hearing? What is it? The subplot is what relates to the main plot. So you have to differentiate what the main plot is and what the subplot is. And in that sense, also keep in mind the theme of the extract. Also remember that in terms of the plot, don't narrow your perspective. Remain set on what the theme is. What is the setting? That's the fourth bullet. The setting relates to the time and place that the story takes place. You will see that it was written in 2000. And then when you go through the extract, you will see that the characters, some of them have opinions that are backdated, and some of them are more current or are more new age. So you have to know what is the writer trying to convey by saying that these customs are practiced by this particular group, and then in this particular place, relating that to the the main theme of customs and the law. So you have to remember what the law was, what custom was in that time and in that specific place, and what it is now. So if you quote that, you can substantiate using that. So in this instance, you remember it's 2000, what the community was like. They held a court, how their court proceedings went on, and people who still cut trees. Do people still go out there and cut trees? What they regard a child as. They stated something about discrimination at the bottom. So that's also something that you have to keep in mind, that this person who cut the tree is actually a very well-informed person. So you have to also keep that in mind. And when you quote something, be able to substantiate it using the theme of customs and the law before trying to describe everything. And then the fifth bullet, identify words and phrases that tell you something about each character. So you go to the extract, and wherever a character is mentioned, you will see that a certain type of diction is used, a certain type of writing is used. For instance, when an elder speaks, they speak in a specific manner, and that reveals something about their character. So in terms of character development, what does the writer use? What words do they use? What are they trying to imply? And also remember to relay this according to the theme as well. How does he portray the characters in the extract? And the last bullet is the conclusion. In terms of the conclusion, do you think that the extract is written in such a way that only one perspective of law and custom is portrayed as correct? Or does he tackle multifaceted, for instance, perspectives as correct? Or does he provide information of what people went through in terms of what is correct and what is not, what is regarded as minus, what is not, and who was discriminated against and what is not, relaying that back to the theme of customs and law, which is most important. So that's what you do. Remember to plan, use a mind map, and the amount of words you will use with each quotation, and how you will substantiate or explain in an argumentative way. But do not discuss or go into too much detail without relaying what you're writing to the main topic. So that's question 1. And in terms of question 2, on page 26, where one is provided with a poem, Johannesburg, that was written in 2013 by Lesego Rampolokeng. So in this poem, it talks about Johannesburg. Before going through the poem, read the question carefully, because it requires 1,200 words and not 1,000 words like the first question. And you will analyze the diction, imagery, and other features of language that are used to explore the speaker in the poem's attitude towards Johannesburg. So here you will put you put yourself in the shoes of the writer, and then trying to explore what their attitude is by the words they used in this extract. For instance, when they speak about, in the first stanza, Johannesburg, my city, paved with Judah's gold. The word Judah's gold, what does that imply? You will then go to, for instance, the Bible. Who was Judas? The person that lied to Jesus. So deception, lies. So the words that were used by the writer to describe Joburg, it shows the writer's attitude towards Joburg. So you have to remember that you have to go through each stanza and be very particular and specific as to what the speaker in the poem's attitude is, their diction, imagery, and other features. So you will also have to go through your study guide to know what diction is, to know what imagery is, and other features. I have provided examples for you that you can go through. And remember that you must quote from the text to substantiate your argument. So if you say traffic flows in the second stanza, traffic flows in the sick veins of life as we take, with the eternal time bomb of our own extinction. So what is the person talking about here? We are talking about global warming, traffic, cars cause, they leave toxic gases in the atmosphere. So we are talking about a city that contributes to the diminishing of our environment, of our ozone layers. So you have to remember that you have to be very open-minded, but remember that in the first stanza, the speaker almost gives you a hint that they say my city, they love it, it is theirs, but their attitude towards it, what is that attitude saying, and the specific words they use, and use argumentative words when you write. Quote what is written in the extract and substantiate. Do not discuss anything in the essay that you cannot relate to the setting and its meaning for the speaker. Exactly. Not its meaning for you, but for the speaker. Because it is very clear by the words that the speaker uses as to what they feel about the city. You have to remember that they use negative words, and in this negative way, it shows what they feel about the materialism, the greed, the personal gain, and the dehumanizing that happens in this city. So you have to know what these things mean: materialistic things, money, cars, and greed, the people in the city, how they respond to the poor and all of that, and personal gain, dehumanizing. Dehumanizing is taking the dignity out of a person when you remove the human from the human being. So how does all of that? Remember, you have to create a picture, and in this picture you put it in words. And then justify a selection of each of these words or phrases that you have identified. You cannot just simply quote something and not justify what it means. Is it negative? Is it positive? What attitude does it convey? And specific how the diction that is used. Why did the writer use this specific word? You understand? Because when you say being dishonest sounds okay, but when you use words such as deception, lies, Judas, then it means that this person has deep feelings for the negative dishonesty that is going on. So it puts a particular emphasis on that particular feeling. So you have to go through and Google the words that you don't understand before just quoting something and then giving a wrong substantiation. And remember to use your poetic devices. That's your similes, your metaphors, personification, your oxymorons. I have provided examples for those. And is there a rhythm scheme in this poem? For instance, if you go through the fifth stanza, it says, Joburg, my city. Here, our birth is a lie. We just rush and die. So you see here there is some type of a rhythm scheme without living, just existing to keep the money belt spinning. So there is some type of scheme, but how often is that? Comment on the presence and absence of the rhythm that it contributes to the poem's exploration. So in the structure, for instance, everything that the writer speaks of is provided for in a specific stanza. So they don't mix certain things in one stanza because they want to be very particular about that specific point that they're trying to put through. The diction, the choice of words and phrases, the imagery they're trying to portray. Remember your troops, these are defined in your study guide. Troops, the shift of meaning from ordinary understanding. They don't just use ordinary words, they use words with a very definitive meaning. So go through your preparation for your essay as well, and also do a mind map and decide which of the stanzas or specific phrases you will quote and substantiate. And in terms of question 3, here is the drama. You will also go through the drama part if you're going to answer that. You're going through the drama part in your study guide. And in this part, you will also answer it in 1,200 words in paragraphs, obviously. And it is Mike van Groen's play, Brothers in Blood, 2012. So there is a link to a YouTube video that you can read for a bit more background on the play. And in this play, Leah Abrams, it is a Muslim, and it talks about conflictions in terms of your type. For instance, we're talking about Muslims here, there are Christians here, and the type of conflictions they have in terms of abortions and struggles with the decision against a religion. So it goes to religious beliefs and people's choices and what they can do with their body, and what other people's opinion, how other people's opinions affect what the person's decision is in terms of their body, and how religion plays a part in that, and the person's age and what their family has to say, the people around them. So you go through the extract. But before that, in the pre-reading, it gives you what you have to take note of, the contrast, what each voice is saying. Are they saying the same thing or do they differ? For instance, a Muslim person will have a different perspective than a Christian person. A father will have a different perspective than a baby daddy, for instance, the child's father here. The diction, the choice of words that is used. If you go to the extract, the word, it's murder. You can't, the first line, you can't do that, Layla. It's murder. The word murder is a very harsh word. It goes back to the diction, and it says a lot about the character. The dialogue versus stage direction. What is the person doing? Because you have to remember, this is drama. What is the person on stage doing? What does that say about what they're saying, their dialogue? Repetition. Are they repeating something? Metaphors. Are there metaphors in the extract? You realize that there are a lot of exclamation, and that although this is written, you can tell the tone by reading the exclamations and the linguistic devices that are used. Whether there's compassion in what the person is saying, you can more or less see that when Reverend Frederick speaks, your body is a temple of God, and it's a full stop. What is that saying? How does a reverend say that? What tone will he use to someone who wants to pursue abortion? Will it be an insulting tone or a disappointing tone? A tone of someone who's disappointed, as a pastor who believes in Christian way, life is everything, you understand? What are Christians' beliefs in terms of pursuit of not killing, and is abortion murder? You have to really go deeper as to understanding where the characters come from, where their perspective comes from. And it says here, pick only the most interesting features, the ones that you can write 200 or 300 words about. Here, it basically tells you that you will choose specific things that are provided in the extract. For instance, the use of exclamation marks. Here it tells you what the character is saying, their tone, so you can then substantiate that. And then it will tell you the use of specific words. You can then say the diction, the use of Allah and God, how and here it says constitution. So we are speaking about people who believe in God, who believe in Allah, who believe in the constitution. These are high laws, these are high powers. So what does that say? What does that speak to someone who is pursuing abortion? So you can probably substantiate that using also what the background of the specific character, as the dad, as the pastor, as the father of the baby. Each of these features will now be the topic of the paragraph in the body of the essay. Now, you only have to add an introduction and a conclusion. You can therefore then conclude by highlighting everything you used in your body and then make that your conclusion. So that is more or less question 3. Remember to plan and to go through your assignment pre-reading and go through the study guide, because it gives very simple definitions of what fiction entails, what poetry entails, and what drama entails, and it will more or less give you a more detailed view of what you have to do. And then read your extract carefully and remove yourself from having an opinion, but quote and substantiate in an argumentative way. Don't tell a story, be argumentative.